Over 5 years after The Queen's Gambit premiered on Netflix, it's still one of the best miniseries the streamer has ever put out, and features incredible performances. Based on the novel by Walter Tevis, The Queen's Gambit follows the young chess prodigy Beth Harmon as she fights against her dark past and the sexist world of competitive chess in the 1960s as political tensions rise. The Queen's Gambit isn't based on a real person, but that doesn't make Anya Taylor-Joy's performance as Beth Harmon any less compelling. While audiences and critics couldn't get enough of the show, it didn't return for a second season, and Netflix has no plans to bring it back. Usually, this would be a tragedy, but when it comes to The Queen's Gambit, it's a good thing. The Queen's Gambit was a sensational miniseries for Netflix, and I get why. The show's popularity makes a lot of sense. Anchored by Taylor-Joy, who gives her all to the character of Beth, audiences fall in love with the world of The Queen's Gambit almost instantly, no matter how much they know about the world of chess. While the series was hailed for its complex understanding of how the game is played, it was Beth's emotional journey that kept us watching until the action-packed final moments of the story. The Queen's Gambit is a TV show you can binge in under 12 hours, making it the perfect series to dive into over the weekend. This kind of show is what subscribers expect from Netflix, so it's easy to see why the series was such a smash hit for the streaming service so quickly. In many ways, it adheres to the trope of the chosen one, centering Beth's genius. It helped that when it was released in October of 2020, many people were still staying home and looking for things to watch because of the pandemic. However, it wasn't just circumstance that made us love The Queen's Gambit, it was the pacing, the storytelling, and the flawed nature of Beth's character that made her relatable and lovable all at once. The Queen's Gambit is so incredible, I'm glad it never got a season 2. Another installment would have ruined The Queen's Gambit. One of the best qualities in any TV show isn't knowing how best to expand the story, but knowing when it's run its course. The novel the series is based on is a standalone book, meaning the source material had run out, and the way the story was crafted over its 7 episodes left little to be desired in a second season. Renewing The Queen's Gambit for another season, even though it was always intended to be a miniseries, would have been far more disappointing. While it might have garnered high viewership numbers, it's unlikely that the show would have been able to top Season 1, which told a complete narrative and ended on a definitive note. Beth's life continues on in our imaginations, not our screens. Additionally, attempting to raise the stakes and put Beth through more upheaval wouldn't have been anything other than repetitive and boring. She faced grief, addiction, and defeat throughout the single season of the show, and came out the other side stronger than ever. Though Beth wasn't perfect by the end of The Queen's Gambit, her character development had reached its apex. Another season risked hurting The Queen's Gambit's near-perfect legacy. The Queen's Gambit's reputation shouldn't be marred by an additional season. The Queen's Gambit ending was the perfect note for the series' conclusion, and disrupting this carefully crafted arc would only have hurt the way we view the show today. The great thing about writing and producing a near-perfect season of television that can stand on its own is that audiences can return to the project many times without losing interest. Though we spend a lot of time with Beth in adulthood, The Queen's Gambit is a coming-of-age story, and this typically comes to an end when the characters have learned their lessons and are able to take on the world by themselves. Beth handles a lot more than a young person should have to within the story, but this is why The Queen's Gambit has so much emotional weight that it's true that Season 2 could have found a way to raise the stakes and justify itself, but the fact that it was never supposed to exist would always be hanging over the show. The Queen's Gambit enjoys a legacy unmarked by mistakes or obvious attempts at cash grabbing, and this makes it all the easier to revisit today.